Oh man, what are people in for with Gunslingers? I think they're in for a bit of a roller coaster ride, maybe a little bit of a rock concert, and maybe a little bit of heartbreak. I think those three things: a roller coaster ride, a rock and roll concert, and a heartbreak. That's what I read when I was handed this script. A year ago, and I guess that's what I hope they walk away from or walk away with, because that's certainly what I went into it expecting. Um, yeah, I think that's it. I hope people are just gripping on the whole time. Yeah. What didn't draw me to be a part of this Western film? Right away, this Western film was presented to me by a guy I have a lot of respect and admiration for, and that's Brian Skiba. I worked with him about 7 years ago on a little Lifetime movie that he approached as if it were $400 million studio picture. I mean, the guy just squeezes out every ounce of opportunity he's given, utilizes every tool he's got to the max. And he's a nice guy in the process to boot. Gives the actors a lot of room to have opinions about stuff, and opens himself up to conversations and shifting and changing things as we together see fit. So the fact that he reapproached me with a new role, in a script that he wrote and that he spent a lot of time on and was really passionate about, was a real honor. So just right there, I was interested, and then he sends me over the script, and it's like Shakespearean. It's like high stakes characters who are fighting like dogs to get what they need and want, relationships that are hooked and deep and complex. And then, yeah, the genre itself, Western is something I've always wanted to do. I come from small town Colorado. I got, a grandfather, a great grandfather who, trained horses on the Front Range of Colorado way back in the day. And really, were these Western characters in many ways. And so for me, it felt very personal. I loved the time period, the specifics of the time period, kind of that teeter-totter 1907, where you're sort of harkening back to the past and also looking ahead to what will become the future of, automobiles and mechanized, weaponry and all kinds of stuff. So yeah, I could go on and on, man. This project was very appealing from its onset.
And westerns do seem to be making a comeback. Why do you think they're so popular?
Well, I think it's like that. Like I think westerns are popular again, because it's reminding us a little bit of who we are, where we came from. As an American community, maybe. Like I said, personally, the western speaks to me. It like wakes things up in me that are almost ancestral, right? Relationships I had with my grandfather, stories he told me about his father and his father before him. These are stories of the Wild West, and I'm not alone in that. An awful lot of us are tied to that, and so I think it just reminds us where we came from, and that's what storytelling does. And it's also just a lot of fun. I mean, the world is just a lot of fun. I always say in great stories, there's got to be a lot of like opposites, a lot of opposition, and so the Wild West, where people are trying to sort of put down stakes and tame their life, while at the same time all of these outside factors are challenging that. Um, I think is pretty universal. It creates some great drama, some great action. Mm. Yeah, absolutely. This, I guess, is not technically a film, more of a TV show, but most recently, the Taylor Sheridan series 1883 just absolutely knocked my socks off. I was going on and on about that show for days, weeks, months, and I've watched it two or three times. I just felt like the writing of that show was spectacular. The young woman in that series just absolutely melted my face. Like, she was such a good actor. I was like, if this kid does not win something for this performance, it is an unjust world. Sam Elliott, all these incredible performances, but really at the heart of it, just like any good script, you can wrap it up with wagons and guns and cowboy hats and all kinds of cool stuff. But at the heart of it, if you don't have strong relationships, if you don't have a human experience on the screen that people can identify with, that tugs at the heartstrings, that surprises, that makes you believe it's real, you got nothing. And that show had all of that in spades. So that's my most recent. But I mean, the Western genre is something I very much enjoy and have been dreaming about being a part of for a long time. It was awesome. It's one of the things I love most about, my career as an actor, the places it takes you. Landing in Kentucky, I've driven through Kentucky a few times. I spent a little time in the cities down in Louisville and Lexington and stuff, but I've never been to Cave City. And when you get to, be there, not just for a day or a week, but in my case, for a good solid month, you start living there. You start finding your little spot. You get coffee in a little restaurant you go to, and I had created a little walking path for myself because I always like to move when I memorize my lines and stuff. So I'd hoof it around Cave City, about a 5 mile loop every day, and walk through their little old downtown. And in doing so, you learn an awful lot about its history and its stories that it's got going on. And, I won a little trivia contest actually not too long ago because I was asked, where's the longest, network of caves in the United States, Cave City, Kentucky. And I learned that because I was there. And yeah, learning the history there, the cave wars and all that stuff. Boy, what a dramatic spot we were hanging out in to create our drama. It was really fun. And always it's about the people, just like the last question. And the people of Cave City were amazing. I got to know so many of them, both on set and off, and what a delightful place to be. Gosh, what am I most excited for people to see with the film? Well, what I hope is that they, have a great time. I think, the battle. I guess that's the thing I'm most excited for them to see, the battle that takes place with all the, obvious stuff, all the gunfighting and all the horse, chasing and all that stuff. But more importantly, I think the battle between wills between these characters, whether it's between, me and Steven, or Heather and myself, or whoever, just that the clash of the titans. I think this is what this movie's about a little bit. And so yeah, I can't wait for them to watch that battle happen. And hopefully they walk away a little bit surprised, maybe a little freaked out, hopefully a little bit, maybe a little bit touched, a little heartbroken. And yeah, as I say with any project, I mean, I hope they believe it for at least a minute or two during this ride. So yep. Well, I guess the thing I always like to add about any project is, if you like this movie, it's because of the collective. It was created by a whole lot of people who were dedicated to making this thing real cool. From the the PA all the way up to Brian Skiba himself, everybody in between. This was a team effort. It included a lot of folks from all over the country. This cast and crew came from everywhere. We had people from Canada and Texas and Baltimore, and I reside up here in Washington right now, Los Angeles, of course. And so it was a team effort. A lot of local folks too jumped in to help us out, and we just couldn't have done it. This is not a one-man band filmmaking. So if you like this movie, or even if you don't forget that there's a lot of blood, sweat, and tears from an awful lot of people baked into this. So I hope you enjoy it, and I hope you think about all those folks out there who really invested a lot in it.